Bill, and I don't know how to unmute Bill's microphone. So go ahead and type your question into the chat window if you would. Okay, Bill hasn't typed his question in yet. Anybody else have a question while we're waiting for that? Okay, Bill put his question in, so I'll read his question. So how do you get people to really understand the nature of what can be done to them other than by example? Dude, that is how you get people to understand what can be done to them. I glossed over it, but I talked about it a lot in the security awareness stuff. I really don't believe that anyone owns it until they've experienced it. So all of our security awareness training classes that we do with our clients, Foreground has really made a bit of a business around security awareness training and helping clients put together security awareness programs. We really make a big component of that actually having the users experience it, both from an attacker perspective and from a defender perspective. They need to see what the bad guys see, and they need to know what it feels like. I liken it to martial arts training. I can go read a whole lot of books. I can go read all of Bruce Lee's books. I can go watch all of Bruce Lee's movies. That doesn't give me the understanding of what it's like to be in a fight. Until I have gone to a class and I've actually stood there and let someone attempt to punch me and attempted to block that punch, I don't know what that feels like. I don't think that until you have sat in a controlled environment and experienced it for real, you can gain the intuition around what it feels like to actually be in a situation. Okay. Bill's got a counter argument. I love it. Bill, I wish I could unmute your mic. I wish I didn't. For some reason, you don't have a microphone on. Bill says, and I quote, "Yeah, I know, but it took me a half an hour to explain why the note that a family member got was a scam. Even when explaining in detail, the glaze factor was intense." Yeah, of course it was. And the truth is, family is always going to be harder than corporate. In corporate you have a bit of a captive audience. In family, dude, I can't even begin to attempt to explain to my mom most of these issues. Right? She just doesn't care, doesn't want to know, and me telling her, not going to happen. If it became part of her, again, that part comes down to incentive. There's no incentive to listen. And most home users don't have an incentive. In a work environment, we can at least incentivize people to listen. And if you can make the exercises fun, that's the other piece, right? Security awareness training, and you and I specifically share a background that you know of where I speak when I talk about those checkbox tests. Those are some of the most boring, glaze over, inane things. And I apologize if I'm offending the checkbox test vendors, but they try to make it interesting by having a story. Anyone who hasn't done them, they're ridiculous. Jane overhears her boss telling his passwords to his assistant. Should Jane, A, tell his boss he's a bad man? B, it's ridiculous. It doesn't interest anyone. It doesn't hold anyone's attention. All the new studies on learning say that if you don't have emotional content, if the person who's being taught is not emotionally bought in and emotionally engaged in the story, emotionally engaged in the situation, they're not going to learn a damn thing. And we've spent a lot of years of security awareness training building pretty posters and, putting up these checkbox tests about fake people. Guess what? No one remembers them. I cannot remember the content of the last checkbox test I took. I know I took it. I know I passed. And it made some lawyer somewhere happy because we were corporately, we had done our corporate due diligence and we had protected ourselves. And frankly, what it really meant was they could fire me if I did something dumb because I'd proven that I knew that they had trained me. It doesn't emotionally engage the user. It doesn't emotionally engage the person. Honestly, in your situation, if it was a family member, I would actually tell a story. I would actually, frankly, I'd scare the crap out of my family member if it was worth doing. In your case, I would find a story of someone who had experienced that kind of scam, and I would tell them the story of what happened to you. Sort of the around the campfire boogeyman story, because they need to understand how close it's like, you're walking down the street and someone shoots a bullet at you and they miss. Well, if you don't know they shot a bullet, you're blissfully ignorant. You're just walking down the street like, la, 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 okay, no one, everything's good. If you realize how close you came to dying, that has an impact on your behavior. You need to, in your family member's case, you need to make them realize how close they were to dying. What could they have just lost? What did they almost just experience? That they were lucky enough to escape because, you helped them not to escape it. You need to engage their emotions. You need to engage their mammalian brain, so to speak, and really tie it together. All the intellectual curiosity in the world isn't going to scare the crap out of them. And I'm not all about security being about fear, but they really did. They really were just walking down the street and someone shot a bullet at them and missed. You need to make them know that they dodged the bullet. That's all I would say. Other questions from any of the other people on? Okay, doesn't seem like we have. It doesn't seem like we have any more questions. I will. You can always email me. My email's been on screen for the whole time we've been talking about questions. So for those who are on the phone, my email is mike@foregroundsecurity.com. You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/Murray. You can also get me on Facebook if you want. For those of you all who are out there, you can find me on all the same social networks that we've been railing about for the last hour. I'm going to drop off because we're a little over time. And I want to thank everybody for coming. I hope this has been useful for everybody. I hope this has been interesting. And, hopefully we can, we'll continue on this topic in the future because it's a very fertile topic and there's a lot more to talk about. Like I said, if you have questions about this, if you want to get in touch, if you want to know more about how we've solved these problems, both ourselves and with our clients, email me. I'm happy to talk. Thanks a lot, everybody, and we will talk to you next time.